for letting me do it shortly.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to USPAC's Live Talk,
focused today on doing business with the New York Power Authority. I'm Mark Allen, Vice President of Corporate and External Relations here at USPACC, and I just want to send you all a reminder about our annual celebration Business Plus Procurement Conference this June 3 through 5. Check the link in the chat and for more information. And now I'm delighted to introduce our host, Abrar Hashmi, Chief Agile Evangelist and founder of Agile Brains Consulting Inc, an Inc. 5000 company helping organizations with transformation and innovation. An award-winning change leader, he was named to Philadelphia's top 40 under 40 and Forbes' next 1,000 leaders to watch. Abrar is a passionate advocate for developing the next generation of digital agile leaders. USPACC is thrilled to have him with us today. I will pass it over to you, Abrar.
Thank you so much, Mark. Welcome, everyone. First and foremost, thank you so much for the kind words and this amazing introduction. I feel honored and flattered, and I'm blushing a little bit as we go through this session. So thank you so much, Mark, again, for allowing me and giving me the privilege to come in and spend some time talking to our guest of honor today, William Choi. And Mark, super excited to be here. And I would like to welcome all our attendees, our business owners, our leaders, our change agents, every single person who has joined us here today and helping us out to learn about how our businesses can have the pleasure of working with the New York Power Authority. It's my pleasure and honor to introduce our speaker, William Choi, Director of Supplier Diversity at the New York Power Authority. William has been a key driver behind NYPA's supply diversity initiatives, helping out small businesses, helping out minority-owned businesses, providing them access to procurement opportunities. And having had the pleasure to work with William in the last few weeks, his role has been pivotal in ensuring that not only the NYPA's supplier diversity program has impact, but also provides opportunities for small businesses, for minority-owned businesses to be able to partner with the Power Authority. During his tenure here at the NYPA, William has had a significant impact working with the City University of New York, helping them launching out their first ever supplier diversity program. And interestingly, that resulted in $250 million worth of diverse spend by the City University of New York. So William is not somebody who's new to supplier diversity. He's not somebody who is new to helping out small businesses. And we are honored here where William will get a chance to share with us some of his insights, what really excites him, how he can help out small businesses, what are some takeaways for all of us as we try to maneuver and identify more opportunities for our businesses. William, thank you once again for joining us here today and sharing all your insights with our amazing audience. Welcome, William.
Thank you for having me. Really appreciate USPACC and yourself for inviting me to speak with the business owners, Asian-owned business owners here today. I'm really thrilled to be here, to be part of this community, to really talk about what the New York Power Authority and the work that we do across the nation, really, but focused on New York State, can help drive business owners to more opportunities and to really thrive and succeed. I really appreciate the mission of USPACC, really helping and focusing on this subset of Asian-owned business owners, near and dear to my heart, of course, as my family has been owners of small businesses themselves. So definitely excited to be here today and really share some information with you. With that, I know we're going to start off today's topic with just a quick overview and a brief presentation on doing business with NYPA and Canals. And so I know a lot of people are asking, well, who is NYPA? Right. And really, for sure, that was the first question I had when I first joined NYPA as well. Is I said, well, who is NYPA? Right. So I'm hoping that everyone walks away today with a better understanding of the organization that I represent, and definitely on opportunities to do business with us. Next slide. So who is NYPA? We're actually the largest state-owned power organization. So we're actually a utility company. We generate and transmit electricity across all of New York State. We have 17 generation facilities and own over a third of the circuit-mile transmission lines in New York State. The electricity that we produce, 80% of that is actually from hydropower. So I like to call ourselves the OG, the originals of renewables, because New York Power Authority has been doing renewable power long before it became fancy and part of our lexicon today. Most of our projects, actually all of our projects, we actually self-fund. So I know a lot of times, especially right now in the federal government, people have concerns, right? Of, hey, is my contract going to last next year? We don't have that concern at the New York Power Authority because we're actually selling back the electricity we produce to fund a lot of the projects that we have going forward. That makes us a very good business partner for you, for a lot of the businesses here today. We know that our projects are going to happen, that we have plans for them, and that we will continue to do them regardless of who's in the administration today. Next slide. So some fun facts about NYPA. Again, I mentioned we have 17 generation facilities all across New York, 1,500 circuit miles, which actually translates to a third of owning transmission lines. So think about transmission lines that are over land and also underwater, because we do have some waterways. We're producing about 22% of the total energy generated for New York State. So I say that we punch above our weight, really, through a lot of the hydropower that we have. Our operating budget is $3 billion plus, and I hope that translates to you as, hey, there's a lot of opportunity here, business obviously from our supplier chain, and we hold over $10 billion of assets. So we're a pretty stable company to do business with. We do have customers ourselves, over 1,000 customers. So who we sell electricity to are obviously our large and small local businesses, so such as yourselves, non-for-profits, community-owned electric systems, rural electric systems, and also other government entities. Next slide. One of the key aspects of the New York Power Authority, people ask, well, what do we buy? So we're buying EVSE implementation services. So EV chargers is a big part of our portfolio. We are the New York State Thruway partner for EV chargers. We're about to just be the New York City EV charger partner. So we have a lot of EV charger projects. We obviously own a lot of substations. We're building substations all throughout New York State. We have a great project that just kicked off in Long Island. We're $300 million. Substations are very expensive to own and operate, I must admit. We also operate a statewide energy efficiency program, because when the government needs something from the New York Power Authority or needs the New York Power Authority to do something, they know that we'll do it. So actually, we are the energy advisor for New York State, and we provide energy efficiency services through all of the government customers that we have. So think about, hey, do we need to replace a boiler? We're a big partner in a lot of the housing authorities here in New York. Do we need to replace street lamps? We do that quite a bit all throughout New York. Do we need to put solar panels on buildings? We do that as well. Again, street lighting, on-demand infrastructure repair, transmission and substation engineering. We do a lot of telecommunications as well, because we own a third of the transmission line. So people, especially telecommunications, like to use our lines to hold other things as telecommunication. We're also working on some very big projects right here in Long Island as well, in Propel, New York, where it's a $4 billion project that we have with a developer to develop a new transmission line all throughout Long Island. So a lot of big work. Our Next Gen Niagara project, worth also $1.5 billion, is a 15-year capital program. We're on year 4. So a lot of work to be done there as well. And again, like I mentioned, when New York State needs something, they know they can call on New York Power Authority. We are also been charged to develop renewable power, more so of it, because we know that, hey, we need more electricity, folks. So we know we got to build it. So the New York Power Authority has been charged to developing renewable power in all regions of New York. And we're looking for co-investors and developers to help us build both solar and battery energy storage systems. So a lot of opportunities, some big projects. We've got some small projects, of course, less than $100,000, but some of our bigger projects are in the billions, and we're looking for suppliers today just to help us with that. Next slide. One of the also interesting things about New York Power Authority is that one of our subsidiaries is a New York State Canal Corporation. The New York State Canal system is the largest in the nation with an inland waterway. We have over 524 miles across 4 canals. I would say also this year we are lucky as an organization to be hosting the World's Canal Conference in Buffalo. The New York Canal System, a corporation on behalf of New York Power Authority, of course, is hosting that. And it is a magnificent gem of an asset throughout New York State. Definitely encourage anybody who is close by, definitely even if you are not close by and you want to make that a recreation destination for you, we have a lot of kayaking, biking along our trails. It's beautiful. It's also all free, thanks to the New York Power Authority. And we're investing a lot of money into cleaning and repairing the canal system so that it becomes a recreational destination year-round. Next slide. Some fun facts about the Canal Corporation. Over $100,000 acre of owned or managed land, 524 miles of waterway, and we're also part of the Empire State Trail. So for those who may not know, New York State has a system where you can actually go on a trail from really the top end, from Buffalo all the way down to Long Island in one trail. And we operate 165 miles of that as well. So that's pretty exciting. But it also really means there's a lot of opportunity for a lot of contractors to do work, especially in the repair and rehabilitation of the canal system. And it was built quite some time ago, so it does need quite a bit of tender love and care, as we call it. Next slide. What the canal system is buying, obviously, it's culvert repair, replacement, trail rehabilitation. They do some electrical and valve repair, so a lot of those locks are quite old. So, we're trying to modernize them so that somebody doesn't have to actually lift the gate, that it can be, done by electronically. And we also have some concrete work as well. Next slide. So really quickly about our procurement process and how to identify opportunities. Next slide. I would say, obviously, New York Power Authority is an authority by the state of New York. So we do as many competitive procurements as much as possible. We're looking for new suppliers to join the supply chain. We will try not to take anybody off the invitation list for bids. We do a lot of competitive procurements. There are some under $50,000. There are some that we do target just to New York State certified minority women-owned businesses, which also can be located outside of New York. We also do target some opportunities to New York State service-disabled veteran-owned businesses and New York State small businesses as well. But of course, we know that some of the work that we do, there's federal contracts that also can help that. So we do use some USA, General Services Administration contracts, and the state also has an administrative arm, the New York State Office of General Services, that does some procurement on behalf of NYPA. Next slide. I know I want to get to the questions. I'm gonna breeze through this as much as possible. Definitely, I'm sure the deck can be shared with all the attendees here. So certainly, don't feel free that you have to screen capture this, but definitely we'll share this with you. In order to find me, find us, definitely three things. NYPA.gov/procurement is your destination to find our opportunities. In order to compete, we do have an e-procurement solution that we have implemented, NYPA Ariba. So you must be registered there too as well to communicate with us when you're in an active procurement. And by law, we're also reporting on the New York State Contract Reporter as well. Next slide. I love the work that I do. It helps me to meet some pretty incredible business owners, especially those that are owned by Asian-owned businesses. The company itself has definitely a goal. We are trying to hit 30% of our eligible spend with New York State certified MDBEs, and that includes Asian-owned businesses as well. We want to see an increase. We also do have a 6% SDVOB participation goal, and we do make, of course, every effort to work with New York State small businesses whenever possible. But really for this group, I encourage you to consider New York State MDB certification as long as you have a significant business present in New York. We want to work with you. We want to help you do business with us. And even if you're not located in New York, we want to help you just do business with NYPA. Next slide. We do also offer some business readiness programs for those that are close by. We also offer a small local capacity building program, really to help early stage businesses, small businesses to kind of get a foothold in government contracting. I must admit, it's not easy. We also offer surety bond training programs for those construction businesses that need to access surety bond. We offer that free of charge. And we also offer a mentor protege program that really helps develop small businesses with our larger key primes like AECOM, WSP, all those larger engineering construction firms. We have them help you develop your competitive edge so that you can come back and work for us. We also offer an accessibility education. We know that just because DEI doesn't only mean DEI, there's an I in there. So inclusion and accessibility is important to us. So we make sure that the recreation providers also have knowledge and awareness of how to become accessible recreation providers throughout New York. Next slide. And because we're in New York, we also have participation goals on our contracts. So some of our larger primes, and this is why I encourage you to consider becoming a New York State certified MWBE, because we will have specific goals on certain contracts to allow our prime contractors to meet. So even if you think, hey, I can't work on a $4 billion project, which listen, very few people can. Even if I can't work on a $4 billion project, maybe I can be a sub. That $4 billion project has a lot of subcontracting opportunities, all the way down to flagging and road repair and communication to impacted stakeholders like homeowners that we will dig in front of their house. So they need to be notified. So there's a lot of work that can be done, not just as prime, but as subs as well. Next slide. And of course, if you are interested in subcontracting, we have a portal for you as well. Go back to NYPA.gov/procurement. You can express interest as a subcontractor or sub-supplier, and my team will review that when we're looking at the plans to make sure that somebody in our prime, whoever we select, have reached out to everyone who is interested in working as a subcontractor. We want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to work on our impactful projects. I will, as I'm sure the conversation will lead, there's a lot of work that's being done regionally and nationally to strengthen the electricity grid of the United States as a whole. So there's a lot of projects. We know that we're in competition with some of the other utilities. We want to make sure that you work with us and we're good partners to you. Next slide. So just some considerations when you're working for an electric grid. We do have some qualifications, NERC SIP being one. It's obviously, we want to make sure that we are not vulnerable to cyber threats. I like to tell people, nobody likes it when their electricity goes out. And when the electricity goes out, we get fined as well. So we do have some special qualifications that certainly if there's work to be done on the grid, there's going to be additional qualifications that you may need to qualify for. And certainly we're here, my team is here to help you kind of manage that and go through that. So definitely cybersecurity is a big thing. We have a whole map in one of our floors that just identifies all the cyber attacks we get in a day. It's over 100. It's quite impressive, but at the same time, quite fearful, I must admit. Next slide. And of course, SOC 1, SOC 2, I'm sure many of the business owners here are aware. Obviously, financial controls, definitely if you're going to access our systems, we're starting to really kind of hone down on SOC 1 and SOC 2 requests. It is led by one of my sister partners here at the NYPA Supply Chain Risk Team, because we want to make sure that our supply chain is not vulnerable to risk, that we have resiliency, and that nobody will have their electricity turned off. Next slide. And again, I think I mentioned a little bit before, the reason why we offer surety bond training is because, of course, any construction project in New York over $200,000 does require a bond. It's not sometimes always easy to get. And I think sometimes people small businesses think, hey, I want to win this job, and they may mortgage something that is incredibly valuable, like a home. And we don't want that. We want you to be educated and well-versed so that you're able to leverage the right assets to work on our projects. We want you to succeed, because when you succeed, the project gets completed. And that's good for all of us. And we want to make sure we pay you. We are very committed to construction safety. So we do have a very, very strict, we talk every week about, obviously any safety concerns that we have. So certainly there's a lot of that we do at NYPA and Canals as well. And of course, because we're electric grid, I always like to remind people insurance is a little higher than normal, right? Generally, people are used to a $2 million aggregate. We kind of start off at 10. But again, it's to mitigate risk, and we will work with you to make sure that we have the right level of risk and the right protections for you and for us. Next slide. So I'm going to close that off. I know there's a whole lot of email addresses and a whole just a lot of places that we can send you. I'm going to tell you, Philip here is a great partner. He's going to send you my email address directly so that you can reach out to me. But again, of course, you know, we all. I'm just a part of a larger organization that's committed to this. I want to make sure that everyone has the NYPA.gov/procurement. Go there. Please explore it. Please explore all that information. Love to be able to connect with everyone here and talk about how you can work, we can work together on making sure we strengthen the electric grid and really bring it to the next century. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Philip.
All right. Thank you so much, William. It was such a pleasure getting to see you present a little bit. I know we're about to get into the meat of the discussion portion as well. But real quick, we want to go ahead and take a photo of everybody. So we want to do a really quick group photo. So if everybody could turn on their cameras quick, I'll give everybody a quick minute. USPACC team, if you want to help me request videos, that would be fantastic. We'll give everyone a quick...
Only for 1 minute, everyone. Then we can again shut down the cameras.
Yeah. Yes, William shared such really great information. I hope that some of you were heavy on that screenshot button because I definitely was. We'll be sharing some of it in our emails as well. So thank you, William. You've been such a pleasure to work with throughout this process. So we're excited to see what comes from this. As a reminder, please try to have your cameras on. We're going to take a group photo very soon. I still see some cameras off. If we can get those turned on, it'll be very quick minute. Very quick minute. Give everybody maybe just 30 more seconds. All right, we're almost
If
there.
you don't turn your cameras in 15 seconds, Philip is going to use an AI avatar of you. So it's your last
will.
chance.
I will. And that won't be pleasant, I don't think. So, okay. All right. We're gonna take our photo in 3, 2, 1. Take a couple more. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. And then 2 more. 3, 2, 1. And last one. 3, 2, 1. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. I'll go ahead and pass it over to Abrar.
Awesome. Thank you, William, first and foremost, for providing up all the details and literally information overload with the places where we can go to. Also good to hear from such a leader as yourself talking about the different opportunities which NYPA has for our business owners and for our organization interested in partnering with them. So I would like to turn to you towards it. The buzzword in the industry is smart energy, renewables, ESG, sustainability goals, look at corporate shareholder reports. We're all focused on those areas. What can vendors and what can suppliers do on our side as small businesses to make us be more attractive and remain competitive when we're trying to, let's say, partner with NYPA for one of these opportunities?
You know, I would say certainly as a small business, right? You know, learning how to innovate and finding a niche to really, you know, make yourself attractive to NYPA is the key way to make sure that a small business has the right access and the opportunity, right? You know, you have the larger firms who have kind of a strong hold on some of the core goods and services, but really that a small business is nimble, right? You're able to make decisions faster. You're able to kind of turn around some of the key documents a little bit more on an accelerated pace. An ability to innovate is really the key driver, and I think that's what's really exciting about NYPA is that, you know, we do have a focus on innovation, and supplier-led innovation is a key element of the work that we do. I think it's just so important as an agent-owned business also to really come to the table and say, hey, this is how I can help NYPA, but this is how either we're going to strengthen the electric grid, how we're going to maybe save you money, or what our products are going to do to improve our operations overall.
Excellent point. And I think that is something which is not only true for NYPA, but I think just as small businesses, as you mentioned, they are nimble, they're lean. One of the key focuses areas has to be, how do you continuously innovate? How do you continuously utilize cutting edge technology to build better solutions, to provide better options for both the citizens of New York who are again utilizing your services? Let's talk a little bit about, you've been there at NYPA for such a long time, William. Think about maybe the top one or two small businesses whom you have worked with, who have had the pleasure of working with NYPA, and just share their journey. Like, how did you get engaged with them? Something which strikes out to you in your long and illustrious career.
Definitely, I would say that one business really comes to mind, and it's actually a business owner that actually went through our mentor protege program. When I talked to her, when she first started doing her business, she would actually tell me full honesty. She would say, "Hey, I was just trying to chase the next contract to become profitable, chase the next contract so that I can pay off the ones that I've already done." So I think really, I think about her journey. I think about the work that she's done. She went through our mentor protege program, got partnered up with one of our key suppliers, our major engineering contractors, and learned how to become profitable in this very kind of it's not the easiest market, right? We know that electric utility companies is not the easiest market to go into, but I thought about her journey from being unprofitable to really now expanding our profitability. And now, because of her kind of content knowledge that she worked with a larger prime that we had, she's actually now the prime herself on some of our projects, with her mentor being the sub. So it is possible. It is possible as a small business owner to come into NYPA, to understand our landscape, and then be able to really compete with some of our larger primes. Because at the end of the day, we also know that the supply chain is at capacity, right? There is a limit to that. It's a finite limit. And some of the roles that we have is to expand that supply chain so that there's more businesses that are interested in the work that we do, and that they can also expand our reach and our abilities to do more projects faster and on time.
Absolutely. And I think, as you just shared, it starts with the Mentor Prodigy program, which you talked about in your slides as well. So I think this is a takeaway for our audience here today, that all the email addresses and the URLs which William shared, they're not just there for the sake of it. I think they actually have successes. So I'm glad, William, that you were able to share that out with that, how somebody went through the Mentor Prodigy program, and how today they are a prime where they, for example, started as a sub earlier. So thank you for sharing that out. In the same spirit, William, I think one of the key challenges when somebody's a small business, they're starting, one of the bigger question always comes in. You shared some numbers, $10 billion, 500 million when you started, 250 million when you were working with the University of New York. Big numbers. Again, small businesses, one person owned, a handful of people. What challenges do you foresee? What challenges do small businesses encounter, specifically when they're trying to, let's say, work with NYPA? And what advice would you have for them to overcome those challenges and obstacles?
Yeah, I mean, I know specifically, obviously, we do have a lot of projects in the pipeline. Credit availability is always a tough one, right? It is a tough one that impacts small businesses throughout the nation, regardless of whether in New York or certainly anywhere else. I think understanding the credit availability limit for your area is critical, right? Talk to your CDFIs, talk to your alternative lenders, understand the credit limit that you can offer so that you're able to perform on the job. I think sometimes a lot of times people think that they have to go through it alone. There are other resources available, and I know as sometimes Asian-owned business owners, we feel that we're over-mentored, or there's opportunities abound. But it is okay to kind of maybe sort through that and understand the work that you need to do, because ultimately for the New York Power Authority, because we're an authority of the state, we don't really we don't fund your project to work for us. You have to find that credit availability elsewhere, find that line of credit, make sure that it's an attractive rate for you so that you're able to make money on the projects that you do for NYPA. I think small businesses in general, of course, That's tough. It's not an easy thing. Making sure that you're profitable, making sure that you have that line of credit. It is a challenge.
And I think that's a great point which William raises, and I think I want to reiterate for all our audience today. Like looking at those alternative lenders, alternative investors, having that cash flow to support some of these NYPA projects will be critical. Another key thing, William, which we hear a lot of times when you're trying to work in a specific sector, let's say if you're working with a bank, and the fun question we always get asked is, hey, do you have prior experience working with a bank? Or if you're trying to work with a utility company, how many other utility companies do you have you worked with? And again, everybody has to start somewhere. It's equivalent to you graduate college and somebody comes in. Well, how many years of experience do you have? No, I just graduated. I'm just starting, right? Like, so we all start from somewhere.
We've all
And
been
it
there.
becomes like we all have been there. So how do you navigate or respond towards those challenges and those lack of experience? Where does a small business go from there?
Yeah, and I think that's why it's so important and it's impactful, the work that we do in terms of making sure that there's subcontracting opportunities, sort of, that we have goals for our prime contractors to meet. Because let's be honest, some of our prime contractors, they could do the whole project, front to end, nobody else, they have all the resources in-house to do so. But it is our obligation as well as our right to kind of fashion our procurements to advance our social mission. So we do believe, hey, we are going to put goals and making sure that some of those small businesses that have never had the opportunity to work on a project, maybe they're not going to work as a prime, and they're probably not going to. I'm going to be honest, because we're going to have those minimum level requirements. We need to deliver on our projects. So maybe being a prime is probably not the best pathway. Being a sub, understanding the market, coming in, entering the market so that you build your resume, you build your credit history, you build your reputation within the industry. I think that's the best pathway for someone who has never really participated in the market before can really enter.
Excellent point. And I think something which William pointed out is critical is like, we all start somewhere. I remember us as a company at Agile Brains, our first customer in the utility space. I was a speaker at an Agile event, and one of the CIOs of one of the largest utility providers in New York City, he was there in the audience. After the talk was finished, him and I ended up talking, and one of the things which really ended up happening was, hey, can you come in and take a couple of days and perform a process assessment for us? A 2-day engagement, that's all what it started with. And once again, as William, you pointed out, it's so much about taking those initial steps. It's identifying what that initial opportunity comes in, and all first time it becomes that first initial hurdle is crossed, and then it really grows. Similarly, in the same vein of things, one of the other challenges we have is you look through the whole life cycle. Hey, becoming a vendor is step one. Getting to the RFPs is number two. Then submitting a bid is number three. What advice do you have for small businesses, for example, who submit a bid and for a variety of reasons, they don't win it? And that happens a couple of times. And then how do you not lose heart? And what advice do you have for those use cases, William?
Stay persistent. It takes a while, right? And I think that's really true of government contracts. Even though, the government, it's open and fair and transparent, especially people do business with who they trust, right? And so it's about kind of making sure that you stay persistent, but that you also build that relationship. And I think what you mentioned before, it's so critical, right? It was that, hey, you had almost a chance encounter that helped you build a relationship, and that relationship translated into opportunity. And I think especially for myself, I know on behalf of my team, we are trying to build those relationships with Asian-owned business owners, with minority-owned business owners, with women-owned business owners, because we know that that does happen, right? We know that we need to open the access to those opportunities. And so it's about relationships. It's about, making sure you stay persistent and that you help develop that relationship so that you're ready for the opportunity the next time. I would also say one of the best things, what I feel like maybe actually one of the most underutilized processes in government contracting, period, and just overall, is requesting a debriefing. Especially if we're part of the government, we work for the people. There's an opportunity to kind of ask the question, well, why was I not selected, right? Especially in New York State, we call it a debriefing. Very few people actually take advantage of that. And it confuses me a little bit, I'm going to be honest, because I think to myself, well, if you don't know why we didn't select you this time, how do you know that you're not going to do the same thing the next time the solicitation is available? How about you ask us, we'll sit down with you, we'll help you understand why the selection was made the way we made it. And then that way you can take that back and you can strengthen your proposal the next time around. Every government contract is a little bit cyclic, I must admit. There's some cyclic purchases. So you want to be ready and you want to be prepared when the next opportunity comes.
Excellent point. And I think I want to just, for our audience here, everything which William pointed out, 3 key takeaways, at least from my side. 1, being persistent. I think just following up, just responding, not worry about the results. The one thing which we can do as small businesses is, of course, continuously knocking on that door. I think the second key thing which William pointed out is that feedback loop. We don't usually get the opportunity, but again, their options are available. And again, I'll tell you even from personal experience, at the end of the day, we put in a lot of effort to get towards an RFP, to submit a bid, to submit a response. And it can feel literally like the end of the world when you don't win a contract, when you don't win the engagement. But I think the most important aspect there is ask for feedback, get guidance on what can I do differently. Because as William has pointed to all of us today, there's not millions of dollars or hundreds of millions there's billions of dollars worth of contracts. And it starts with NYPA. I mean, how many other utility companies are there in the whole country? Think about a global landscape, and then these numbers are just unfathomable. So these advice which William has provided to all of us today, it is not only related to what we work with, for example, at NYPA, but across the global way of how organizations scale and thrive. Let's take that global view and come down a little bit, William. Talk to us a little bit about at NYPA. What type of opportunities are in your pipeline today? Key things or key types of suppliers, what you are looking for, any upcoming projects? What's on your docket these days?
Yeah, we definitely, I think I mentioned earlier, New York Propel. And so it's a transformative project to bring to build a transmission line all throughout Long Island and certain parts of Queens and a little bit of Lower Westchester. Obviously that's going to require a lot of construction, engineering, everything down to your flaggers. There is an underwater marine cabling system that's also being installed. So those are all opportunities that, I'd say it's fair game that we would want Asian-owned businesses to really participate. But among that, obviously the authority, we do procure legal services, we do procure administrative, like IT contingent staffing is a big one, I must admit. We do have some communication contracts that we do have, making sure that we communicate with all of our stakeholders. And of course, a lot of the work that we do upstate, especially in upstate New York, we have a lot of construction opportunities and a lot of the hydro facilities that we operate and own. We just did a solicitation to rehabilitate a general administrative building, right? That was, that's definitely an opportunity for small businesses to participate. So we're really looking for the full gamut of, everything from your construction to your engineering, especially in the utility grid. All the way down to, your auditing firms, your legal services, your, everyday kind of normal corporation suppliers and items.
Excellent, William. We've talked about how to start working with NYPA, what happens when we win a contract, what happens when we don't, what can we be doing as small businesses, minority-owned businesses. Just the last couple of questions before we open it out to our audience, and I see a lot of questions in the chat here already. William, spend some time maybe enlightening us about your NYPA's small business programs. I know you talked about the Mentor Prodigy program briefly. How do you get involved with it? How do you measure success? You've already shared as one success story with us. What advice do you have for small businesses to join that program? What guidance can you provide? Just a little bit shedding light on these small business programs at NYPA.
Yeah, so I would say, a few years ago, the current board of the New York Power Authority really empowered actually empower the team here to say, go big, go big and go bold. And so one of the things that we really started was a small business development program. I know in the presentation, I kind of mentioned the 4 programs that we are currently offering. But basically, I would say it's really to help small entrepreneurs to really learn and access government contracts, including at the Power Authority and the Canal Corporation, really trying to finance and model ourselves to be able to educate our supply chain to work on our projects as well. I would say that, if you're not in New York, there are other organizations that provide very similar business readiness programs. And I know sometimes, hey, we're running businesses and we get it. It's tough. It's not easy. I mean, you're probably working at least 24 hours a day. And I still remember at my family, right? Holidays were my dad's conferences that I attended. I realized that's why we went to Vegas so many times when I couldn't even go to the casino. We get it. But I would say that it's important to make sure that you access those resources. There are a lot of free resources out there, and including on your Power Authority, we self-fund all of those programs so that minority-owned businesses, including Asian-owned businesses, can get access to those opportunities, to get access to that education and that awareness about the industry and about what we do and how to really access the contracts free of charge. As long as you're committed, we want to help you become more aware and understanding of the processes and really how to operate your business. And I know that there's a shared commitment all throughout the region, all throughout the nation, right? You have your network of APAC centers, you have chambers like USPACC, who's helping us kind of collect our voices, making sure that our needs that as business owners are understood and that we get access to the right training so that we can go after those opportunities. So I think it's for our NYPA programs, definitely come to our website. Feel free to reach out to me. Happy to discuss any other programs in greater detail. It's meant to help. There's a stage of business development that's really right for that might be right for the business owners. But there is a whole regional and national effort to make this happen and make this work, especially for Asian-owned businesses.
Lovely, lovely. And William, thank you so much for once again providing that oversight and again also offering your time, your expertise, and your resources. And as you said, education, training, learning, those are again pillars and parts of journeys which are always going to remain with us, whether you work at NYPA or any other place, like your journey as you shared out earlier. One last question. I think you've shared with us a lot of ideas, from funding towards financing, towards learning and mentor prodigy programs. As small businesses, it can sound overwhelming. Like, where do I get started from, right? There's so much there is so much to do. And that becomes daunting, again, for smaller businesses. My last question to you is, think about if you were to provide advice, maybe the top 2 things or top 3 things on how do you get started. What would be the 3 biggest takeaways which you would provide to our audience, which they could write down and try to take some action items in the next 30, 60, 90 days or 180 days, but that will at least get them on this journey towards success and more contracts?
I would say relationships. Build relationships with myself, the NYPA team. Build relationships, because that's going to help you get introductions to maybe not necessarily us. We might say, hey, meet some of our primes that are already doing the work for us, and that way you can get a subcontracting opportunity. And then lastly, I would say, but make sure that you stay persistent, because I think a lot of times people maybe get discouraged. And understand from our perspective, maybe at that day we got 50 calls instead of 5, right? And we're just trying to juggle through our day as well. So be persistent. It's okay. I think sometimes, a lot of times, small businesses ask me, well, how many times is it okay to reach out to me? And I'm like, well, you can call me every day. That's the role that we play. That's the we're the anchor in the community, making sure that your voice is heard within our organization, at the same time that you have an access and a point to develop that relationship, to foster that relationship, so that we're providing the best available information, but really an opportunity for you to access this market. that maybe historically wasn't. And I think what you mentioned before, the New York Power Authority isn't the only utility. You're right. I admit that. So maybe you work on a project for us. Next thing you know, you're working for a project for another utility, and then another one, because we all are doing similar work. The nation is really progressing towards strengthening the electric grid, as well as a lot of renewables. There's a lot of work. There is a lot of funding out there. There is a lot of projects that we want to make sure that people take advantage of. It is a once in a generation opportunity. Let's make sure that we're working in there.
Excellent point. Thank you so much, William. And William talked about the key word being relationships. And I think he ended his answer by talking about NYPA is not the only utility provider. In our journey, I'll share a small story about it. One of the CIOs we worked with at an insurance company, he had a huge technology modernization effort. We've supported them out for 3 years. The CIO, of course, after 3 years, decided to move on. He joined a new insurance company. In less than 30 days, when the chance came for him to think about, hey, we want to do some modernization in the new insurance company, which I am the CIO for, guess who did he call? Same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, if you do quality work and if you build up those relationships and you really let the work do the talking, I think like this whole USPAC's program, we've been privileged here to be part of USPAC's Fast 100, Fast 50 award winners 4 or 5 years in a row now. And we have seen is the same organizations who keep trying, who keep building these relationships, who are relentless, who are persistent, who believe in relationships and are not looking for immediate returns. Relationships take time, and if you provide the right time, if you provide the right capacity, the chances of them being successful are very high. Thank you so much, William. Let's take some questions from the audience. Let me take a look here. I see a question here, and the question was, where and when will the Canal Conference be held? Is there a link for registration, William?
Oh, I can definitely share that with Philip, and he can share that with the group. It will be sometime in September. At the end of September, it's in Buffalo, New York. It's very exciting.
Awesome.
I'm really looking forward to it myself.
Very cool.
It's actually it's a world conference, so you'll have definitely people from the United States, but also really from all across the globe, all visiting, all coming down to Buffalo, New York, for NYPA and Canals to host the World's Canal Conference this year.
Very nice. Very nice. I know you talked about, William, the SOC 1, SOC 2 cybersecurity projects and programs at NYPA. Are there any subcontracting opportunities in the cybersecurity programs?
Certainly there's a few. I would say a lot of it is we're developing the processes ourselves. There's a intense focus really from the state perspective as well to really be more aware of cybersecurity. So certainly reach out. We can definitely put you in touch with our primes. We're trying to understand the market and the landscape ourselves as well, so that maybe perhaps it's an opportunity for to educate us at NYPA to say, hey, there is an opportunity. There's not only a prime, but a sub opportunity as well. So love to have that conversation.
Excellent, excellent. So I think that question was asked by some people in the audience. So again, if you are interested, get in touch with Philip, and William definitely will help out. Another question which was asked around was, are there any set-aside contracts or goals specifically at smaller, minority, or any other category, smaller businesses? Like set aside?
Yeah, and so the term set aside is defined in New York State. So there are some set asides, but it would be for New York State certified SDVOBs only. We do have a goal, right? We have a goal. It's a goal-based program for New York State certified minority women-owned businesses where Asian-owned businesses can participate. Our goal is 30% of our eligible spend. So certainly there's an opportunity there. There are some procurements that what we consider discretionary purchases, where we'll only target New York State certified MDBs, SDVOBs, and New York State small businesses. So I always like to tell people there's a lot of procurement tools out there for our buyers to use to make sure that New York State certified MDBs, SDVOBs, and small businesses are well represented in our contracting portfolio.
Lovely, lovely. And so again, that's good to hear. It's again written by the state of New York. So again, we follow the same processes. Another one specifically related to NYPA was around IT, software, staffing, recruiting. Any requirements in those areas for NYPA?
It is a big business at NYPA. I would definitely recommend. So certainly one thing I would say is we do have established contracts for IT contingent staffing. There are some requirements. I would say the last time around we have a lot of responses. But really, generally, we're looking for people who understand the utility market. So again, this becomes really the chicken or the egg, right? So if you maybe not had the experience of working for a utility, working for maybe a smaller utility or working as a subcontractor might be really in your best interest, right? Rather than working directly with NYPA and the Canal Corporation in that regards. But certainly, especially for the IT contingent staffing, they are looking very strongly for people who have the companies themselves to have utility-based experience.
Excellent. So I think that's very, very useful. Giselle has also shared with the group the NYPA's Canal Conference in Buffalo sometime later this year. So that link to register is also shared. The PDF is listed out for the audience. Any other questions? Raise your hand if you want to ask any specific questions. We have William for some more time. I don't know when we'll find him again. I'm just joking. We can.
You know where to find me.
There you go. There you go.
We do have a question right here. What's the best way to stay up to date on new opportunities? Does NYPA send out alerts or newsletters?
Definitely, you can. So what we recommend is you go to NYPA.gov/procurement. You can actually select that to receive e-alerts from our system automatically on our opportunities. There are new opportunities come out every day. I think we have like 30 something odd opportunities just alone today. So certainly it's ongoing. There's never a dull moment, I must admit. We're pumping out procurements each day, every day.
We have the opportunity for two more questions, relatively short ones. William, in terms of the programs, do we have to be in New York State certified to be part of these programs if we are based in New York?
So our small business development programs, you don't have to be certified by the state of New York. They are open to New York State small businesses. So we definitely, what we're trying to do is we're trying to encourage the supply chain. So certainly if you're an Asian-owned business owner, haven't gotten the state certification, but you're based in New York, and you're interested in one of our programs, happy to have the conversation with you. We love to make sure that you have access to our programs. One program I didn't mention only because I wasn't sure how many people are from New York here, but we are launching a brand new program as well. Especially, I know we talked about clean energy and renewables. And listen, I think for all of us, especially small business owners, nobody went to school for clean energy and renewables, right? It wasn't a course. It wasn't a degree just yet, and I talk about that jokingly, considering my time at the University of New York. But so because small businesses haven't had the access, we're developing access. We're developing that curriculum right now so that business owners can come understand the renewable and clean energy landscape so that they're able to be ready and educated on where to participate in our opportunities. So, look forward to that as well. We're looking for our first cohort in sometime around June. So certainly, stay in touch, keep in touch with the NYPA team because there'll be a lot more information coming about that pretty soon.
Awesome. I have a couple of folks with their hands up, so hands raised. So I'm going to take two more questions, relatively quick. Start with you, Alan.
I think you're on mute, Alan.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Thank you. My name is Alan. I'm CEO of Montech. We do cybersecurity here for the U.S. government, specifically DHS, Homeland Security. We also have commercial clients, on-prem cloud migrations, following government guidance. Very interested in resilience, energy, utility, everything like that. I'm not based in New York. I'm definitely interested in helping any way I can. I'm a very technical type person, so we approached IT, OT, and all those aspects, and also reseller different tools, specifically tailored to clients. So if I'm coming from Maryland and I want to work with you, what are the likelihood of a prime being interested in me, considering that I'm not focused in New York or on utilities today?
Well, I think so. We don't really have geographical limitations in our procurements. I would say some of our suppliers are actually from Canada, right? Because our Buffalo Niagara plant is literally, we look over to Canada and you could, there's a door to Canada in that plant. So just kind of giving that wide range and scale, and especially because New York State, we're an export state. So we don't really create limitations, geographical limitations for our suppliers. We do have suppliers actually all the way in Mexico as well, because they're doing QA testing for us on some of the materials that we're producing, which I guess if I think about that out loud with the tariffs, maybe not the best solution at this point. So we might have to rethink that supply chain a little bit, but certainly Maryland, pretty close by. I would say, there shouldn't be anything stopping you from kind of really being interested in the New York Power Authority's opportunities, especially because we are within the same actually electric grid and we are pretty close by, and so we're neighbors, right? So definitely an opportunity, especially, cybersecurity is very big at the Power Authority. So certainly happy to kind of have that conversation with you and maybe with some of our stakeholders in the cybersecurity team, so that they can kind of better understand what you do for the federal government. I think I saw a question in there about whether NYPA is federally or state funded. I would say NYPA is self-funded. So we actually produce the funding that we need. We're not dependent on the government for our funding, which kind of makes us a little unique in that respect, but makes us pretty much like every utility, right? But so certainly NYPA is a good customer, is a good business partner for everyone.
Excellent. And I think that's been the theme which William has shared throughout with us today: being persistent, keep knocking on the doors, does not worry about your geographic location, keep innovating. I know we have a couple of more hands raised. In the interest of time, we have 120 seconds left. I want to take a minute and thank William for all your time here today. And it's been an absolute pleasure here having you with us, sharing your insights, sharing your journey here, and again, how the different programs exist, providing your guidance, I think will be valuable to all the business owners who have attended today. Last minute, I want to take a minute and thank our audience to attend this session, provide some of the feedback which you have. One of the last things I would like to say is we are running these LiveTALK events once a month, if not more. So your feedback is very important to us. So when we think about improving, providing you with most impactful content, so you will get a survey link out. So please take a minute or two, fill out this survey, and we look forward to once again seeing you up in our upcoming next LiveTALK session. And I want to once again thank William, thank USPACC, thank Philip, thank Susan for all the questions, all the preparation. William, as you can see, has been very passionate about this stuff, and also looking out for how small businesses would have the opportunity to work with NYPA. So William, once again, thank you for being here. Our audience who has stuck around with us, for all your questions, for all your comments and feedback, once again, I would like to personally thank every one of you. And thank you, Philip. Thank you, Susan, for allowing me to host today's session. It's been an honor. It's been a privilege. Again, my name is Abrar Hashmi. Wish everyone all the best and keep in touch, be persistent, and we look forward to having great things with USPACC and with NYPA. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.